Marcus thought cleaning offices at night was just a job, until he overheard the CEO's deadly secret. The toxic waste poisoning his daughter's school, the bribes covering up cancer deaths, the threats against anyone who spoke up. One janitor. One choice. Thousands of innocent lives hanging in the balance. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Marcus wiped the sweat from his forehead as he pushed his cleaning cart down the empty hallway of Pinnacle Industries. The clock on the wall showed 2:47 a.m. While the rest of the city slept, he worked through the night, scrubbing floors and emptying trash cans to support his 8-year-old daughter Lily. 3 years had passed since Sarah's death. Cancer had taken her quickly, leaving Marcus alone with a mountain of medical bills and a little girl who still asked why mommy wasn't coming home. The janitorial job barely covered rent and Lily's school expenses, but it was honest work. Marcus took pride in keeping the building spotless, even though some employees looked at him like he was invisible. Every morning, Marcus would return to their small apartment exhausted but determined. He would wake Lily, make her breakfast, and walk her to the school bus stop. She never complained about their simple life, always greeting him with a bright smile that reminded him so much of Sarah. "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to help sick people like Mommy did," Lily had said just last week, her innocence breaking his heart. Sarah had been a nurse at the local hospital before the cancer took her. The medical bills from her treatment still haunted Marcus, but Lily's dreams kept him going. Tonight felt different though. As Marcus entered the executive floor, he noticed CEO Jonathan Blackwood's office door was slightly open, yellow light spilling into the hallway. Strange, Mr. Blackwood never stayed this late. In 3 years of working here, Marcus had never seen the executive floor occupied after midnight. Voices drifted from the office. Marcus hesitated, then moved closer. His curiosity was dangerous, but something about the hushed, urgent tones made him pause. Through the crack in the door, he saw 3 men in expensive suits surrounding Blackwood's desk. Papers were scattered everywhere and briefcases full of cash sat open on the mahogany surface. "The environmental reports need to disappear completely," Blackwood was saying, his voice cold and calculating. "If the EPA finds out about the toxic waste we've been dumping in Riverside, we're finished. The lawsuits alone would destroy us." Marcus's blood ran cold. Riverside, that was where Lily's school was located, where dozens of families lived, where children played in the park every day. His hands gripped the mop handle tighter as the conversation continued. "The contamination levels are through the roof," one of the men said, shuffling through documents. "We're talking about chemicals that cause cancer, birth defects, neurological damage. If this gets out..." "It won't," Blackwood interrupted sharply. "We've been covering this up for 5 years. A few more won't hurt." "What about the families getting sick?" asked another man, his voice showing the first hint of conscience. Blackwood shrugged callously. "Acceptable losses. We pay off the right people, bury the reports, and this goes away. The $3 million should cover everything: politicians, inspectors, anyone who might ask questions." Marcus's hands trembled as rage built inside him. His wife Sarah had worked as a nurse in Riverside before she got sick. She had mentioned strange patterns, unusual numbers of cancer patients, children with respiratory problems, elderly people dying of rare diseases. Could this poison have contributed to her death? "Boss, what if someone finds out? What if there's a leak?" the first man asked nervously. "Then we handle it," Blackwood said coldly. "People who threaten this company have a way of disappearing. Accidents happen all the time." A floorboard creaked under Marcus's foot. The voices stopped abruptly. "What was that?" Blackwood hissed, his voice sharp with suspicion. Marcus quickly moved away, pretending to clean the hallway. His heart pounded so loudly he was sure they could hear it. Footsteps approached the door and Marcus focused on his mop, trying to look invisible. "Just the janitor," one man said dismissively. "He's been here for years. Harmless." Blackwood appeared in the doorway, his cold gray eyes studying Marcus like a predator sizing up prey. The CEO was tall and imposing, with silver hair and a face that had never known kindness. His expensive suit probably cost more than Marcus made in 6 months. "You didn't hear anything, did you, Marcus?" Blackwood's voice was deceptively casual, but there was an underlying threat. "No, sir," Marcus replied quietly, not looking up from his mop. "Just doing my job." Blackwood stared at him for a long moment, and Marcus could feel those cold eyes boring into him. Finally, the CEO returned to his office, but the door remained slightly open. The meeting continued in hushed tones, and Marcus caught fragments of their plan: bribes, cover-ups, destroyed evidence. Marcus finished his shift in a daze, his mind reeling from what he'd heard. By morning he sat in his small apartment kitchen, watching Lily eat cereal before school. She chattered excitedly about her upcoming science project on environmental protection, her bright eyes sparkling with curiosity, the same eyes her mother had. "We're learning about pollution and how it hurts animals and people," Lily explained between spoonfuls. "My teacher says we all have to protect the earth. Do you think bad people really hurt the environment, Daddy?" The innocent question hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. Here was his daughter, learning about protecting the world, while evil men poisoned her neighborhood for profit. "Daddy, are you okay?" Lily asked, noticing his distraction. Marcus forced a smile, ruffling her curly hair. "Just tired, sweetheart. Have a good day at school." But as he watched her skip toward the school bus, Marcus knew he couldn't stay silent. Too many innocent lives were at stake. Lily's classmates, their families, everyone in Riverside was in danger. The memory of Sarah's final days haunted him. The pain, the confusion, the doctors who couldn't explain why a healthy young woman had developed such aggressive cancer. That evening, Marcus couldn't concentrate on his work. Every time he passed Blackwood's office, he remembered the callous way the CEO had dismissed human lives as acceptable losses. By 3 a.m. Marcus had made his decision. He had to get proof. The next evening, Marcus waited until the building was completely empty before returning to Blackwood's office. His hands shook as he used his master key to enter the luxurious space. The office was like a monument to greed: leather furniture, expensive artwork, a bar stocked with liquor that cost more than Marcus's monthly salary. The environmental reports were exactly where he'd seen them, hidden in a locked filing cabinet behind Blackwood's desk. Marcus had learned to pick locks as a teenager growing up in foster care, a skill he'd never mentioned on his job application. His fingers worked carefully on the mechanism until it clicked open. Inside were horrors beyond his imagination. Chemical readings that were hundreds of times above safe levels. Medical reports linking the contamination to cancer clusters in the area. Internal memos discussing cover-ups and bribes. Photos of barrels being dumped into the river at night. Lists of politicians and officials who had been paid to look the other way. His hands shook as he photographed page after page of damning evidence with an old camera he'd borrowed from a pawn shop. Each document was another nail in Blackwood's coffin, another life that could be saved if this information reached the right people. As Marcus prepared to leave, he heard the elevator ding. Panic flooded through him as he quickly closed the filing cabinet and looked for somewhere to hide. The massive desk provided the only cover, and he squeezed behind it just as the office door opened. Blackwood entered with 2 security guards, his face twisted with suspicion. "I want every inch of this building searched," Blackwood ordered. "Someone's been in my office. I can feel it. Check every room, every closet, every corner." The guards began their systematic sweep while Blackwood examined his filing cabinet, running his fingers along the lock. Marcus held his breath, his heart hammering against his ribs. If they found him here, he was a dead man. Blackwood had already made it clear what happened to people who threatened the company. "Sir, we've checked everything. No signs of forced entry, nothing missing," one guard reported after what felt like hours. "Keep looking," Blackwood snarled. "Someone knows something. I can smell it." They searched for another hour before finally giving up. Marcus waited until he heard the elevator doors close and then another full hour before emerging from his hiding spot. His legs were cramped, his back aching, but he had the evidence. The question was, what could he do with it? Walking home through the empty streets, Marcus realized the magnitude of what he was up against. Blackwood had connections everywhere: politicians, police, judges. Who could Marcus trust? A janitor's word against a powerful CEO wouldn't mean much in court, especially when that CEO had millions to spend on lawyers and bribes. The answer came to him as he walked past a newspaper stand. A headline caught his eye: "Local journalist wins award for corporate corruption expose." The photo showed Elena Rodriguez, an investigative journalist who had recently brought down a pharmaceutical company for hiding dangerous side effects. Marcus had read her articles before. She had a reputation for protecting her sources and fighting for the truth. The next day Marcus called in sick, the first time in 3 years, and took Lily to the park. While she played on the swings, laughing with other children who had no idea they were being poisoned, Marcus used a payphone to contact Elena. "Ms. Rodriguez? My name is Marcus. I have information about Pinnacle Industries that you need to see. It's about people dying, children getting sick. Can you meet me?" Elena's voice was professional but intrigued. "How do I know this isn't a prank or some disgruntled employee looking for revenge?" "Because I have proof," Marcus said simply. And because my wife died of cancer after working in the area they've been poisoning for years. There was a long pause. Meet me at Joe's Diner on 5th Street at 8 tonight. Come alone and bring whatever evidence you have. That evening, Marcus sat nervously in a corner booth at the small diner, constantly checking the door. Elena arrived exactly on time, a woman in her 30s with kind but determined eyes, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She looked like someone who had seen too much corruption but hadn't lost her faith in justice. You must be Marcus, she said, sliding into the booth across from him. Tell me everything. Marcus explained what he'd witnessed, his voice growing stronger as he spoke. Elena listened intently, taking notes and asking pointed questions. When he showed her the photographs, her eyes widened. This is incredible, Elena whispered, studying the documents. Do you realize how many lives this could save? How many families this could help? Marcus nodded, thinking of Lily playing in that contaminated park. My wife died of cancer 3 years ago. She worked as a nurse in Riverside, treating patients all day. I can't prove it was connected to this pollution, but... His voice broke. Elena reached across the table and touched his hand gently. Her touch was warm, compassionate, the first human connection Marcus had felt since Sarah's death. We're going to make this right, Marcus. But you need to know, Blackwood won't go down without a fight. Your life could be in danger. He has connections everywhere, and men like him don't hesitate to silence threats. I've thought about that, Marcus replied, meeting her eyes. But I have a daughter. She's 8 years old and she wants to grow up to help people like her mother did. I can't let her live in a world where men like Blackwood think they can poison children and buy their way out of it. Elena smiled, and Marcus saw something in her expression that he hadn't expected: admiration. You're braver than most people I've met. Most sources come to me for money or revenge. You're doing this purely to protect others. Over the next week, Elena worked tirelessly to verify the information and build her case. She contacted environmental experts, medical professionals, and former Pinnacle employees. Meanwhile, Marcus continued his night shifts, acting as normal as possible while living in constant fear of discovery. Blackwood was watching him more closely now, appearing at odd hours to ask pointed questions about his work. The CEO's paranoia was growing, and Marcus could feel the net closing around him. Marcus, Blackwood said one evening, cornering him in the supply closet. His presence filled the small space with menace. I've been thinking about our conversation the other night. Are you sure you didn't hear anything unusual? Marcus looked him straight in the eye, drawing on every ounce of courage he possessed. I'm just here to clean, Mr. Blackwood. I mind my own business and do my job. Blackwood stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Good. Because people who don't mind their own business sometimes find themselves unemployed or worse. Accidents happen all the time in this city. People fall downstairs, get hit by cars, disappear without a trace. The threat was crystal clear, but Marcus didn't flinch. He'd grown up in foster homes and tough neighborhoods, facing bullies bigger and meaner than Jonathan Blackwood. Fear was familiar, but so was survival. I understand, sir, Marcus said calmly. I just want to work and take care of my daughter. Blackwood smiled, but it was the cold smile of a shark. Smart man. Your daughter's safety depends on your discretion. That night, Marcus barely slept. Blackwood's threat against Lily had crossed a line that made Marcus's blood boil. No one threatened his daughter. No one. 3 days later, Elena's article hit the front page of the city's largest newspaper. Toxic cover-up. Local company hides dangerous pollution that's killing families. The story included all the evidence Marcus had gathered, presented in devastating detail with expert analysis and corroborating witnesses. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Federal investigators swarmed Pinnacle Industries within hours. Environmental groups organized protests outside the building. Families from Riverside filed class action lawsuits. The stock price plummeted, wiping out millions in value. Marcus was cleaning the lobby when Blackwood stormed in, his face purple with rage. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his silver hair disheveled. The man who had always seemed so controlled and powerful now looked desperate and cornered. You, he screamed, pointing at Marcus with a shaking finger. You did this. You destroyed everything. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcus replied calmly, continuing to mop the floor. Around them, FBI agents were carrying out boxes of evidence while reporters snapped photos. Don't play dumb with me. You're the leak. You stole those documents. Security guards moved to flank Blackwood, but Marcus stood his ground. He was no longer afraid of this man who had seemed so powerful just days ago. I'm just a janitor, Mr. Blackwood. I don't even know how to use a computer. Blackwood lunged forward, but the guards and FBI agents held him back. You have no idea what you've done. Do you know how many jobs this will cost? How many lives you've ruined? No, Marcus said quietly, his voice cutting through the chaos. You ruined lives the day you decided to poison innocent people for money. You destroyed families, killed children, murdered my wife. I just made sure the world found out. The lobby fell silent except for the click of camera shutters. Even the FBI agents had stopped to listen. Blackwood's face went pale as the full weight of his exposure hit him. This isn't over, he hissed. I have lawyers, connections. I'll destroy you. An FBI agent stepped forward. Jonathan Blackwood, you're under arrest for environmental crimes, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. As they led him away in handcuffs, Blackwood's eyes never left Marcus's face, burning with hatred. Within a month, the full scope of the cover-up was revealed. Blackwood was charged with dozens of federal crimes carrying potential life sentences. The toxic waste cleanup began immediately, funded by Pinnacle Industries' seized assets. Families affected by the contamination received compensation for their medical bills and suffering. Elena's follow-up articles revealed Marcus as the whistleblower, painting him as a hero who risked everything to protect his community. The story went national then international. Job offers poured in from companies impressed by his integrity and courage. The offer Marcus accepted came from an unexpected source. The new CEO of Pinnacle Industries, a woman named Catherine Wells who was brought in to clean up the company's image and practices. She offered him a position as head of building operations and environmental safety, with a salary triple what he'd been making. We need people with integrity, she told him during the interview. People who will speak up when they see something wrong. Your actions saved thousands of lives. On his first day in his new office, ironically just down the hall from where Blackwood used to work, Marcus found a card on his desk. Inside, Elena had written, "Thank you for showing me that heroes come in all forms. The children of Riverside are breathing easier because of your courage." Over the months that followed, Marcus and Elena worked together on follow-up stories about corporate corruption. Their professional relationship gradually became personal as they discovered shared values and deep respect for each other. Elena was amazed by Marcus's quiet strength and unwavering morality, while Marcus was inspired by her passion for justice and her gentle way with Lily. That evening, Marcus picked up Lily from school in his first new car in 10 years, a reliable sedan that would keep them safe. As they drove past the Riverside Park, he saw children playing safely in the cleaned-up environment. The contaminated soil had been replaced, the water supply purified, and medical monitoring programs established for affected families. "Daddy, why are you crying?" Lily asked, concerned. Marcus wiped his eyes and smiled at his daughter. "Happy tears, sweetheart. Sometimes good things happen when people do the right thing. Like when you helped make the park safe?" Marcus looked at her in surprise. "How did you know about that?" Lily grinned, showing the gap where she'd lost a tooth. "Ms. Rodriguez came to our school to talk about journalism. She told us about a brave man who saved our neighborhood. She didn't say it was you, but I knew. You're my hero, Daddy." Marcus pulled over and hugged his daughter tightly, feeling Sarah's presence as if she was smiling down on them both. He had kept his promise to protect their daughter and had found the strength to protect countless other children too. 6 months later, Marcus and Elena were married in a small ceremony in the newly renamed Sarah's Garden, the Riverside Park that had been cleaned up and dedicated to Marcus's late wife and all the other victims of corporate greed. Lily served as the flower girl, beaming with joy as she watched her father find love again. As they danced at their reception, Elena whispered in Marcus's ear, "You know, I've been thinking about starting a foundation to help other whistleblowers find their voice and stay safe while exposing corruption." Marcus smiled, spinning her gently under the twinkling lights. "Count me in. Every child deserves to grow up in a safe world." Looking around at the faces of their friends and neighbors, people whose lives had been saved by his courage, Marcus realized that sometimes the most powerful person in the room isn't the one in the expensive suit making threats. Sometimes it's the one holding a mop with nothing to lose but everything to fight for. The night janitor had become a beacon of hope, proving that one person's conscience could light up the darkness and change the world. And in a small apartment across town, Lily Martinez was already dreaming of following in her parents' footsteps, ready to help heal the world they had made safer for her.